Ted Jones messed with the wrong melon farmers.
Ted Jones, I also call him the eighth wonder of the real estate world.
Ted Jones, who knows, it could be...
Ted Jones?
The Ted Jones World Podcast.
Yo, what is up? And welcome to episode 25 of the Ted Jones World Podcast. I am joined by my associate executive producer over here, Pat Charmel. Pat, how are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Pat is getting over a little bit of a flu. I'm sure you could hear it in his voice, but he's getting better. I keep telling him to drink water. So, Pat, chug away. Over here on the couch to the left of me, to the right of the camera, we have a very special guest, my good friend, comedian Tom McCaffrey. Tom, how are you, bro?
I'm chilling.
Raise the roof.
Yeah.
So Tom and I were just going over Mike Styles, where he's gonna hold the mic. Tom, big comedian, and the guy rests his mic on his chin, as many comedians do. But I feel like more people are doing a little bit close, a little bit far, and mixing it up. Anyway, random. What's up, Tom? How are you, man?
I'm good. This feels unnatural to me to have the mic
on the stand, just like you have to move towards the mic. You usually have your hand, moving it towards your mouth.
I've done radio stuff, so I guess it's not that crazy.
All right. Well, we want you to feel comfortable here. I see you've already had some sips of water. Translate that water drinking over there to Pat. Pat, take notes.
Yep.
So Tom, you and I met a few years back. I think we first initially met when I saw you on stage, bro, and I thought you were hilarious. So we figured we had to get you on. We figured we had to get you on the podcast, man.
Thank you.
This guy is at Black Cat a lot when I'm there, spitting bars. Ted Jones.
Is that where we met at Black Cat?
I think so, or maybe it had to be at one of those sort of comedy clubs.
I do remember you laughing a lot at stuff I said.
Right.
When it was when it was dead.
Right.
Like I was like, oh, that guy's laughing. And no, there wasn't really anyone there, and so I like that guy.
Well, I think also, what, I think you have jokes that the average person with an intelligent form of humor would laugh at, and maybe other people wouldn't think it's that funny. So for example, one of your jokes, I don't want to blow up too many of your jokes right now, but the classic the ski mask joke.
Yeah.
That's a funny fucking joke.
I love that joke.
Dude, can you just run through this joke a little, just really quick, just so the listeners and viewers know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I don't remember verbatim.
Yeah, but the general idea. Yes, please give it to us.
It's that I saw someone wearing a ski mask, and then I'm like, whenever you see someone wearing a ski mask, it's always a red flag that some illegal shit's about to happen, right? Because I'm like, has anyone ever in the history of the world worn a ski mask not for criminal purposes? Right? I can't believe you're even allowed to buy those, because the whole thing is when someone's wearing a ski mask, it's and then I say something like, I don't remember it that well, that I've never even seen someone skiing wearing a ski mask.
Right. So if you see someone wearing a ski mask skiing, they likely came down from the top of the mountain from murdering people.
Yeah, that means
right.
they came
so I just took the joke
people.
Fully. Yes. Hilarious stuff. Just hilarious stuff like that.
It's better when you do it. No, I thought when I came out with my album.
New York Funny, by the way.
Let's plug that. But the label put out a video for that joke, and people were kind of nice, but a lot of people were, just people are mean, And
wait, what do you mean? Why would people be mean about that joke in particular?
Just, shitting on the joke. This guy's not, I didn't laugh once.
Oh, you're talking about the album in general?
No, the video. The label put a video for that joke.
You want to plug that label really quick for us?
Yeah, 800-pound Gorilla
800-pound Gorilla Records.
And they do this thing to promote albums where they'll do a minute of your stand-up in a video to put on Instagram and stuff.
Right.
Social media is the big thing. And they did this cool video of animation of a guy skiing and stuff for the joke. And then,
in a ski mask, a robber ski mask.
Yeah, murdering people with a machine gun. And then people are like, this sucks. And then people are like, I wear ski masks all the time.
Which I can maybe see people wearing ski masks if it's absolutely freezing and you're on the verge of frostbite. But just to go back to, I guess, that joke that I thought was very clever and intelligent. Is there any particular joke that you have that like kills all the time that you can kind of like, I don't want to say sit back on, but something that like where you're just the most comfortable no matter what the crowd is?
I have one joke that I'm like, I have a few, but there's one that I'm like so comfortable with, even if it isn't doing well. It's almost a joke I do sometimes to like relax me because I know it so well. And even if it doesn't do well, it's kind of like you guys are wrong, you know?
Right, like that joke you should have laughed at.
Yeah, I won't do the whole joke, but it's the gist of it is that I grew up here in New York City, and that whenever I go away somewhere and I meet people and they ask me where I'm from and I tell them I'm from New York City, people always feel the need to tell me why they couldn't live in New York City, right?
Wait, okay, yeah. Like people from other places.
Yeah, like I'll be in Hawaii. I remember when I wrote, I was in Hawaii and I met this idiot, and he was like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from New York City." He's like, "Ugh, I could never live there." And I was like, "Yeah, no one wants you to live there." You know, but you know what I mean? He starts listing reasons why he couldn't live there. Like, it's too disgusting and everyone's so mean. And I was like, and I remember when it happened, I was like, "Yeah, thanks a lot for saying that. That's really not." And then the joke is I say, you would never do that in another situation. Like, you wouldn't meet someone and go, "Oh, this is your wife." Yeah, I couldn't be married to her.
And then start leaving like
she's too
like
fat and gross.
Bullet list of why you can't marry her.
Right. So it's really rude. People just feel like they can just shit on New York City, and it's okay.
Why do people do that, by the way? And so I see I pulled up your profile on Google, and it says you you were born in Southampton. What's that about? Long Island.
Well, from what I remember that day, I heard you were born in Southampton. What's that about?
Yeah, what's that about, bro?
I grew up in the city, but
Okay.
my parents had a house in the Hamptons.
Oh, fancy!
I know. It sounds so retarded saying that. You're not allowed to say that anymore, right?
What? Which that you have a house in the Hamptons or the R word? I say both.
Yeah, you can bleep that out or whatever. Actually, I don't care.
All good, bro. All good.
But so I was born in the summer, and so they were out there for the summer, and I was born at Southampton Hospital.
Very
so
posh.
It's kind of weird.
Why does it say that though? But I mean, is that like you were just born there for like, and then you left 2 hours later? Why does it say you're born in Southampton, bro? Yeah,
I was
you're like,
like,
all right, that's it. I'm taking this Southampton title with me.
Well, I think because technically I was born in Southampton, like, you know, and I don't know. I guess it sounds kind of cool.
And it's on your birth certificate that you were born at whatever
Southampton Hospital. So it's on my IMDb, right?
Yeah, I know, bro. That's why. I mean, yeah, that's how I knew. I'm looking at other shit here. No, I mean, dude, obviously that too. But there's also an Australian footballer named after you. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Tom McCaffrey.
He was named after me.
Oh, he was. And then a musical artist.
There's some like Irish folk singer named
That's
Tom
him.
McCaffrey.
That's him. Lou Diamond Phillips is an album name of his.
No, that's my album.
Oh, Ox.
Do you really? That was my first album,
dude. Yeah, it says Tom McCaffrey, musical artist. Lou Diamond Phillips ? And then Irish music.
Irish music is the second one.
So,
but I feel like I blew him out of the water.
Yeah, you did, man. Your results trump his for sure. So Tom, just like growing up in the city, where'd you go to high school?
I went to LaGuardia.
LaGuardia. Oh, so that's like musical performing arts situation. Did you?
Yeah. Well, I was a drama major.
Okay, so you always wanted to like work in acting comedy situation, or
what? I mean, I was when I was young, I was really funny young.
What does that mean, being really funny young? Like a disruptor in class, the class clown? Because like that's how I describe myself. And yes, I would say I was very funny. I
don't like saying I was class clown because that kind of gives the idea that I was like, you know, always kind of like doing things to make people laugh, like rambunctious, which I really was. I was always very dry and sarcastic. I just kind of like liked talking to people.
Well, that's how you are now, though.
Yeah,
just like dry and sarcastic.
Yeah, like I wasn't like, hey, everyone, and so I just kind of became
disruptive in class.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about this, I think yesterday, that so I was really funny, where people were like responding to me being funny. People would say I was funny a lot, and I think that just encouraged me. And I got really into comedy young, not stand up, but I was into like Saturday Night Live,
right?
And movies. I was really into comedy.
Were you doing any improv at that time?
No, I mean this is when I was like 11. I'm just
okay,
talking about
okay.
like,
I was talking about high school.
being when I got in high. Well, so what happened was
Like, what led you to go to LaGuardia? Because don't you have to try out? To
I
get
had
into
thought about like
LaGuardia?
I was really into movies and like I wanted to be like Bill Murray. You know what I mean? Like that was, I would see him and be like, oh, I could be like him. And so I don't know that I per se wanted to be an actor, but I wanted to be. I really was obsessed with movies and being funny. So I was kind of like, I would like to be in movies and be funny in movies, which just sounds like the coolest job in the world,
right.
And
Which it is, of course.
Yeah, and so I took an acting class, and the teacher was like, "You should audition for LaGuardia." And I was like, "Oh, what is that?" She's like, "It's a performing arts school." And so she gave me monologues, and she was like, "Memorize these, you know, for an." And someone set up an audition. I think my teacher, and I forgot about it. And then I remember like on a Thursday, they reminded me that I had the audition on Saturday morning. And I was like, oh, shit. And so I took the monologue she'd given me and I memorized them Friday night. I remember like doing this in the mirror, you know, just memorizing and like not even funny monologue, like dramatic monologues. And I went in and I auditioned and I really
killed it.
They made me read.
Got it.
They made me read a scene, which was like a funny scene. I remember getting laughs from that, and then they were like, "All right, we're gonna." And I remember they were like, "Hey, we're gonna call you back." I didn't really know what that meant because I didn't really care, you know. And the thing is, I think that's why I got in, because showbiz is all like when you don't give a shit, they can like smell it on you. It's when you start caring that everyone's like, "Get out of here."
Interesting.
So I had it down at like the age of 14. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to call you back. And I went to the callback and then I didn't think I'd get in and I got in. And then when I got there, everyone there was very serious about like having a career in showbiz. It was like, I was there with people who were like in movies and stuff and already had agents. And I feel like that kind of got me more like, oh, I should be like an actor, you know, like these guys, you know. And then I got out of school and like friends of mine became like movie stars and stuff, and I was like, I should be a movie star.
Like who? Like who'd you go to school with?
Well, I was there when Adrian Brody was there.
Oh, the pianist.
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
Marlon Wayans.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
That's from Scary Movie 2?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and White Chicks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Omar Epps. Do you know who that is?
From
No.
Oz?
No.
Omar Epps. Love and Basketball?
Yeah, Love and Basketball.
Yes! All right, who else?
Bro,
Bro,
you're a big fan.
I went to professional children's school.
You did?
Yes,
I didn't
bro.
know that.
Yes, dude.
So let's talk about that.
Okay, we can talk about that.
I know someone that went there, but
Who?
years ago.
Who?
This friend of mine, this girl Kim Walker.
No.
She was in the movie Heathers. Do you remember that movie?
Heathers.
Christian Slater.
No.
How old are you? Like 20?
28 and a quarter. In between 28 and a quarter and 28 and a half. Right now.
Heathers was a movie that came out in like 89. Christian Slater was in it. She was really good friends with my sister.
Okay.
Growing up, and she went to professional children's school. When she was there, she was
Interesting.
always talking about like, and like Jerry O'Connell went there.
Yes, of course, dude. Charlie O'Connell tell me saying like, okay, anyway. So like I went to the school called Professional Children's School. It's for,
Why did
like,
you go
actors,
there?
Singers,
Were you an actor?
dancers,
Are you
and performers. So I did like a little bit of acting and modeling, and I played tennis a lot, like competitively. So like in order for me to like travel to tournaments on weekends and such, like I would have the teachers give me homework on like a Thursday night so I could skip Friday or whatever. But basically, while I was at that school, I was doing like improv and acting, and also I was doing like tennis for the most part. Like that was
how you know
that was my
Giulio?
profession. I know Giulio Gallerati, episode 7, by the way.
That's what everyone calls him now.
What?
Episode 7.
Giulio Gallerati, aka episode 7.
That'd be a cool rap name.
Julio and I met like 15 years ago playing tennis in the summer. But yeah, dude,
So you
that's
guys
like
are tough guys.
Yeah, yes, bro, exactly.
That's like the whitest story ever.
Yes, dude, we met.
I met Julio playing tennis in the summer.
Tennis. What was I gonna say? Speaking of like episode 7, yeah, that could be a good rap name. Also, Millie Bobby Brown. What was it? Her birthday today, and season 4 of Stranger Things coming out. So like, what was her name again? 11. Oh yeah, episode
Yeah.
7.
I don't know. I'm
sounds
the
like
only one
11.
who didn't like that show.
It was It was okay. I didn't love it, but like,
I
people
wa-
love
well,
it. Like
people-
that's the #1 show on Netflix.
I know.
think.
I watched when it first started. Julie, I was like, you gotta watch it. And I watched.
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
They were like,
yeah.
it's so great. It's like the 80s.
It's
You know, I grew up
aight.
in the 80s.
Right. Oh, so you know.
Well, so I watched it and I was like,
that.
well, I thought it was just a show, and every now and then they'd play like a Toto song in the background, and I was like, all right, so I guess they're in the 80s.
I can see how people can for sure get into it, but like the storyline in general is a little bit confusing, and like I feel like it's so convoluted that like the people who are like producing the show and such can just throw out such a random thing, and then like people watching are like, oh yeah, this is like totally normal in this circumstance, or whatever it is. I don't
I'm
know.
sick of these complicated shows. There's shows
Dude,
now where
you're
like
right. These
where if-
shows are getting more complicated.
There's shows if like you look to the left for 3 seconds, you like don't.
Dude, you gotta rewind.
You don't know what's going on in the show.
I didn't think
anymore.
Stranger Things was that complicated. It might not have been that good, but
I
Did
think
you
it's
like it?
complicated.
I liked it,
I think with with like the Beast and such, and also like Uncut Gems came out. One of the better movies I've seen, but like just so much shit going on.
So
Uncut Gems wasn't complicated either.
It wasn't complicated.
No, it was like that's like the least
I mean,
complicated
it
thing ever.
in terms of anxiety provoking, complicated.
Okay, I mean,
Right? Okay.
those
well,
aren't-
that's
I mean,
how
I thought,
meant.
yeah.
Obviously, it was
I
pretty
thought-
easy to
synonymous,
under-
but-
It was very easy to understand. 'cause
Fast and the
Adam
Furious
Sandler's a good
9 was
actor.
really complicated.
Dude, it's insane.
I was like,
that
why
they
are
have
they so
9.
angry?
They're consistently angry.
Why are
throughout
they
the whole
driving so
series.
fast?
Vin Diesel just staying in top shape.
So when you were there that must have been full of like famous people, right? Like
Where?
Macaulay Culkin went there.
To my high school?
Yeah, professional
there were,
children's
there were,
school.
Yeah, there were a ton of people who are, I
Like
guess,
who was there when
acting
you were there?
right now?
I had a friend-
Oh my God.
I had a
This is one of the crazier stories. Okay, so I had like my first girlfriend ever. This was like junior year. She had moved here from South Carolina. She was a model. And she was like living in model apartments for a little bit. Pat knows all about model apartments. So was living in a model apartment for a little bit. And we became really close. And then basically she had like theoretically like kind of moved in with me for a little bit. But like my parents didn't really know. And,
This
like,
was in high school?
yeah. So like, but this was a circumstance where like my parents didn't really know, and she'd come over like late at night, would stay, and then wake up, and then like we'd have I don't know, dude, it was insane. Anyway, so I broke up with her, and then literally 3 days later, she started hooking up with Adrian Grenier.
He went to
guy
my
from
school.
the guy from Entourage.
Yeah, he went to LaGuardia.
Right.
So
It was like it was the worst like 4 days of my life.
So
as a
he-
17-year-old, they started hooking up, and I was like, dude, what the fuck is this 33-year-old?
That's what I was
doing
gonna
hooking up
say.
with
He
my
must have been-
17-year-old
was he famous
girlfriend?
yet? Was
Dude,
Entourage
yes,
on?
It was like fucking season 3 of Entourage, and I was like my favorite show. I couldn't watch it anymore. It was the worst.
Wow.
I was like, dude, how could you hook up with like my 17-year-old ex-girlfriend?
How did they even meet? She's a model.
Yes, dude. She was at some movie premiere, like classic,
Nice.
and then they met. It was
Sounds
just
like an episode of Entourage.
Seriously.
Oh my god, that does sound like an episode.
Well,
of
if that show was literally just like every episode was just like, hey man, I met this chick, she's so hot. Oh, do you have any weed? Oh man, what's going on with the movie? Oh, you didn't get it. Oh, you got a better movie. That was like what
that was the show.
Yeah,
and they
the
made
show
how
was
many
just
seasons of that did they
like
make?
9.
Dude, also speaking of a
In a
lot of
movie.
freaking seasons, you've been catching up with this Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm season 10.
I haven't watched it yet.
Dude,
Is it
okay, I
good?
couldn't even make it through the first 10 minutes. It was so cringy. Like he just started off the show with like a tacky, awful joke where he just got mad at someone, and then the next joke he made, somebody said Happy New Year like a week and a half after January 1st. He was like, well, no, there's 3 days. Blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, all right, really?
It's a little
this
forced now.
low-hanging fruit,
Oh,
bro.
is it not as funny
No,
anymore?
no.
I wouldn't say
think
it's
so.
not. I don't want to be that guy to be like, oh,
Yeah.
so much. The first
Right,
4
right,
seasons
yeah,
were so
yeah.
much better, but like it does seem a little bit more.
Did
forced
you
than
have
what
you
it used to
watched
be.
like a few episodes of it? or
I
no?
watched not this season, but even the last season. That was like
9?
the new one when it came back after like 10 years. Yeah.
Right,
It's
right,
really
right.
amazing how no matter what, just nothing can completely last and stand the test.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
think
I haven't
Friends-
watched
I think
it.
Friends did a little bit.
Do you? I like Friends.
I don't like
I
Friends.
would
But I
watch,
feel like
I would
people-
watch
I feel
any
like-
episode of Friends.
But I feel like
meaning-
no one. I get a lot of shit for that.
no. Maybe your
I've
generation.
gotten into
but
like arguments with people about that.
what are they saying? Like, oh,
They just
Seinfeld
say
is so much better.
It's always Seinfeld.
Right,
You're
right.
stupid. How could people are always like, how could you? People think Friends is a bad show. Friends is not a bad
How?
show.
No, it's not.
You know what it is? This is my defense is that it's the sitcom is totally a comedy writer's medium because sitcoms are all about comedy writing. So the actor, it's not like, oh my God, I love these actors. It's that I love the writing on Friends is really funny. And Seinfeld is probably better, but Friends is like joke after joke after joke.
Right.
It's always jokes.
Right.
So I like it because the writing is so sharp.
You know what? I think people also talk shit a lot about the laugh track on that show, which I really don't mind. But
I don't either.
But people do like really like not like that, which I can understand.
Did Seinfeld have a laugh track?
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be weird without a laugh track, like that kind of.
That
unless
kind of
it's
humor,
like
that kind of humor, I would
the
think
way
so.
it's shot, like it's not like they changed it to the single camera later.
Right.
So,
And there's also underlying jokes too that like you might not catch if like you didn't hear like the laugh track and such.
yeah,
Maybe
there are some
inappropriate
episodes
things.
of Friends that are so funny that
Yeah.
like amazing that when they're
No,
on
definitely.
again, I watch Friends probably every day.
So, what you like a Family Guy, South Park, Family Guy or South Park?
You know
for
what? I
though?
never liked either of those.
Really?
I never
I like
South
Family
Park.
Guy. South Park is
Family Park I like. Family Guy. Family Guy I like better. I think Family Guy is funny,
Yeah.
but I just never consistently watched it.
Yeah.
I went through a phase where I loved The Simpsons, and then after about
Interesting.
3, and I think The Simpsons is great. That
Yeah.
was always kind of the cartoon one I went
Yeah.
to. And South Park I just never thought was funny from
Okay.
day one. It annoyed me that everyone loved it from day one, and when people love something right away, I usually rebel, and I'm like, I don't like it. And it's weird because years later, a comedian I really respect, Kurt Metzger.
I know the name. Do you know him, Pat?
Yeah, he's really funny, and I was on the road with him, and I was talking about South Park, and he was like, and I told him I didn't like it, and he was like, dude, the first 6 seasons are horrible. He's like,
right.
you have to watch
You know what?
it
I
now.
honestly kind of remember that like there being a shift when I honestly didn't like it at all, and then there was like a tiny like it's shift where I was like, okay, now I enjoy it.
And he told me, he's like, you'd probably like it now, because I was like, I watched the first year for a little bit, and he was like, oh, it's terrible.
Then, like you said, I mean, is it just like a writer switch situation where they just like got rid of like the whole room and then like brought
they
in
write
people?
the whole Matt and Trey write the whole thing.
I think it's like even Friends, the first season is not that funny. If you watch Friends, the first season, it's not that funny. And what it is a big part of it is in the show, when they say funny things to characters, they're laughing at what the character's saying in the scene. Like they're kind of acknowledging that Chandler is funny in the show. Do you know what I mean?
Like his actions and like how he moves his body and like.
Well, like he'll
tone
say
and
something.
voice.
He'll say something funny, and then they'll show Monica like laughing. But it became funnier when they weren't acknowledging the funniness of what was going on in the show.
More of a dry sense of humor.
Just more like this is how they talked, and they didn't think of it. We all thought it was funny from the outside, not them.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, like Joey just being a silly person.
Like Joey saying something stupid and then being like, ha ha ha. It was more like funny that. I also love how simple it is. It's like all the characters are so like Joey. He's just into like sex and eating
and sandwiches. His favorite food is
Yeah.
just sandwiches, which is a great food, by the way.
I also love
I
how
don't watch
stupid.
Friends, so I don't know what any of this means.
Well, that's what I love about it too. It's not complicated. You could watch
Oh, I
Friends
know,
at
yeah.
any point and know it's gonna be totally caught
Yeah,
up.
it's like
No
not
plot
it's like not
development.
in
Well, there
order.
is. There's still like a storyline, though, right?
I mean, there's not really plot development.
There
Because
is.
they refer to past relationships and stuff like that. So you kind of have to like
Sometimes.
know what's going on, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, they do, but like I said, it's just all jokes.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to know. Like, oh wait, what happened in the like 4
From episode
seasons
to episode,
ago?
you don't really need to know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like it. I don't have time to watch these fucking shows.
Yeah.
Are there any shows you do watch now that you like?
Yeah, give us the juice.
What I watched, one of the last shows that I binge watched was Ozark.
Dude, that
I
was a
didn't
good
see
show.
that.
It's okay, so it's with Jason Bateman.
That
That's
was
his
good.
name. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason Bateman. And then it's coming. Season 2 is actually coming out the end of March. So
thought-
if anyone hasn't watched season 1, I would suggest watching that on Netflix.
I did like
really
it.
good
The
binge.
only thing it was very influenced by Breaking Bad. It's very
Right.
It's
How'd you
better.
feel about Breaking Bad?
I
by the
loved
way?
Breaking
I
Bad.
love Breaking Bad. I don't think Ozark's was better.
You thought Ozark was better?
No, I think
You did
Breaking
it.
Bad was better.
like Ozark was like
Although
a more
I
darker like version of it. I think
Okay.
I liked Ozark. I thought it was good. I was surprised.
I also never liked Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. I thought he was way too dramatic.
Really, you thought he was
Yeah.
too dramatic?
Yeah.
I thought he was.
Like,
I thought
bitch.
I like those shows. I just after a while, it's just the exact same thing keeps happening. You know,
Right.
it's one of those. It's like, did you ever watch? It wasn't like House, but
And the movie was terrible. Breaking Bad movie.
when did that come out?
It was. I think it was on Netflix, right? Pat?
El Camino.
Yeah,
the-
El Camino.
Is it with what's his face isn't in it? Bryan
Ni-
Cranston.
No, he's dead.
I saw that was on last night.
Sorry,
I didn't. I
spoiler.
was like, I can't. I don't want to watch that. There's no way this can be good.
No,
Just Jesse
no,
Pinkman
it wasn't.
alone.
You saved time. I just wasn't a Jesse Pinkman fan. Like everyone loved him. Like I mean, I don't know, maybe because he was so hot or he's like the bad boy. But I wasn't.
It's one of those
vibing to it,
shows
dude.
that like it had its time. It's like the
And
time has
it
passed.
had a long run. As
It
of,
was
like,
long, and it was like I feel like I haven't watched a new Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I think that every show kind of has its moment, and you kind of like just have to leave it there. You can't keep making it.
Yeah, I think Jerry Seinfeld did a good job of not coming back. For a last season that was probably gonna not be that great. If it wasn't, I don't know, maybe it wasn't his time. But I mean, they like stopped making the show at a perfect time.
Yeah, they did, and it
when,
was bad that last season. Do you remember it?
No, I don't.
Because he was gone, Larry David. It's bad.
Really?
It's very.
So Larry David didn't write the last season, or he wasn't
No.
on. He wasn't on.
He wrote the
staff.
last episode. He wrote the finale. But if you watch that last season, you can tell it's different. You can tell that they've hired like kind of smart comedy writers, and they're kind of writing in the template of what Seinfeld was, but it becomes like too absurd, because the big thing about Seinfeld and like Larry David's comedy was those everyday moments that they made into like
Bigger
and
issues than
yeah,
they were.
that became like the comedy. So in the last season, everything became absurd. Like I'm trying to remember, there was one where Newman is gonna eat Kramer or something. You know what I mean? Like because he's really hungry.
What?
And
Were they like on a desert island? or
no, it's
something
like
together?
Kramer gets a tan, and then he like gets covered in butter accidentally, and Newman is looking at it. And I mean, it's just like,
that's so dumb.
but the thing is, like, that's not like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I remember that time I wanted to eat my friend. Like so
Yeah, when he was
that
looking
was
like a hot dog.
lost.
Right.
So you can tell, like, and Friends got kind of bad in the last season too.
Right, but I think Friends still has like in every episode can be watched relatively easily.
Yeah. Even though they rerun it on TV all the time.
Yeah.
But they only rerun they keep rerunning the same 50. I think there's a
Oh,
lot
really?
there's a lot they never show. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And sometimes it did get annoying when Chandler and Monica became a couple.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because there would be serious scenes with them that got kind of annoying.
Too emotional.
Yeah, like they'd be crying and, oh, they're trying to have a baby and she can't have a baby. Like, oh, I really want. And I was just like, I don't want to fucking see that.
This is too real.
I didn't watch Friends to see people talk about babies,
Right.
Crying.
I feel you.
Crying about baby. That's why I liked Seinfeld. They never got serious ever.
I
Remember,
hear ya.
they do that in sitcoms where they're like Fresh Prince did that a lot.
What? When they just got too real? Well,
They
I mean,
just-
Will
all of a
and
sudden
Uncle
they-
Phil got like super serious.
Do you
a bunch
remember
of
when
times.
Will Smith would do that a lot? I guess to show that he was like a good actor.
Oh yes,
he
that
would
he
just
was
like
well-rounded. Yes,
like
of
one
course.
time a season he would just cry.
Uh-huh.
And it would be like, wow, look, he's crying. I mean, he was good.
This got him so many roles just down the line that you were just able to see how versatile he was.
But yeah, and they would do that. When I was growing up in the 80s, they did that a lot. They'd have a sitcom like Different Strokes, and then they'd have out of nowhere one episode where Kimberly is almost raped. It's like, what?
Yay.
I thought this was like a funny show.
Yeah. So speaking about all these TV shows and all these things, what's the biggest job you have booked, or the most fun job that you've booked?
Oh man.
Yeah, if you can.
There's
if you
so
can
many
go
big
back in
ones.
time.
Well, I'm trying to.
I can
Well,
look
I
on,
did
I can
a
look
thing-
on your IMDb.
I did
page, bro.
there's a few things that I did that were like I've done things that sound amazing. But when I was
Okay.
doing them, they weren't like. I think I did a thing once when I was kind of coming up in comedy, where I had done a few TV spots, and then Comedy Central called me one day, and they were like, "Hey, will you like host the show?" It wasn't like a show. They used to do this thing on Comedy Central where they would show movies on the weekends, like Saturday night, uncut at like 11 at night. And they were like, we want you to host it. You know, like they used to do that on TV where they'd have a guy like in between the movie be like, hey, we're watching this movie. And I think they kind of liked that I was like kind of a stonerish everyman guy,
Yeah.
like lax kind of guy.
Uh-huh.
And I remember they just called me and I was like, yeah, sure. All right. I don't really know what this is, but all right. And then I showed up at this apartment we shot in Brooklyn, and like there was this huge crew, and it was just me, and it was like we shot for like 7 hours.
Jesus.
And
Wait, for what?
it was like a thing where it was called the Secret Stash movie.
When you're saying shot, obviously it was a video. It was a video shoot. It wasn't just they were taking pictures of you.
No, yeah, it was video. It was for
Right,
Comedy
right.
Central.
Okay,
it was
okay,
Comedy
go ahead.
Central, and so they were showing movies at midnight. And actually, one of them was the South Park movie, I think, and it was supposed to be in between in the like I would at the beginning of the movie I was like, hey, I'm comedian Tom McCaffrey,
Right.
like we're gonna watch this movie tonight, and
I vaguely remember that
and I would
situation.
make jokes like in between during each commercial break.
Oh, right. Like, hey, that was funny. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and it was
Blah, blah, blah.
I think that what was cool about it is so I kind of shot it and I was like, wow, this might be like a thing, I guess. And someone like a couple months later, someone was like, dude, do you have like your own TV show? And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, they're showing commercials with you on Comedy Central saying you're hosting some show. And then I finally like saw the commercial and it looked like, you know, because it was funny because it was the guy who I always knew as the Comedy Central narrator voice guy, you know, who'd always be like, hey, this week on Comedy Central, he'd be like, this week, Tom McCaffrey hosts the Secret Stash, and then they'd show a clip of me. And I remember like running into people and they'd be like, and it was kind of like a thing.
It was lit. Mommy.
I remember Mark Normand actually years later bringing that up to me, like when he like later was doing comedy.
Is he?
He was like, I remember seeing you on Comedy Central, like where you were like in your apartment. And I was like,
Wait,
oh, yeah.
Mark Norman, is he doing stand up with Amy Schumer for a little bit? Who was he?
Yeah,
working
you know
with?
him. He was like Amy Schumer's opener for a while.
Okay, I've definitely heard him around. He does jokes. He's like, hey, you know,
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
he's kind of blowing up. I think he's about to really blow up.
No, funny guy for sure. So Tom, okay, we touched on the album New York Funny earlier, but let's talk about it a little bit more. So where can we find this album? So is it just a number of jokes? It's you just doing comedy for an hour? What is it?
Yeah, I think it's about 50 minutes. It's just a stand-up album, but all the tracks are, you know, I think they're like 4 minutes each. It's on iTunes. 800 Pound Gorilla Records put it out. But it's also on all the streaming stuff.
Spotify as well, Apple
Pandora.
Podcasts.
Yeah, I mean,
Pandora.
when they were like talking to me about it, they said that that's kind of the new template for this stuff for comedy albums is all the streaming things. That basically, they were kind of acting like iTunes was going to kind of not even be like a thing anymore soon.
Well, what do you mean? iTunes in general or Apple Podcasts?
I think no, like buying songs and stuff.
Buying songs for 99 cents or
yeah,
whatever.
I didn't know that people
think
even
it's-
did that still.
I don't think many people do.
Right.
They still do it, but I guess
Right.
it's not the main thing anymore because it's main. I think they said for comedy that Pandora was the big one now for comedy streaming. That's the one that people are streaming comedy like albums.
So it was just a 50-minute set. Did you do it in the booth?
I did over an hour, but we cut it down to like 50. Did we do it in the booth?
Like yeah.
No, I did it. I recorded it at New York Comedy Club.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was. I did 2 shows, and we the second show was was the better one.
So I got to check that out. Pat, you got to check that out. And you guys is listening at home and watching or listening wherever you are, you got to check that out. New York Funny by Tom McCaffrey over here. And Tom, also, you have something on Amazon Prime right now. Plug that. What is that?
I made a movie called Adventures in Comedy that I star in it, and I wrote it and I directed it.
And it's on Amazon?
Yeah, it originally was released on Hulu when it first came out around 2016. But it was right before Hulu became like a thing.
Yeah.
You know, because Hulu's like huge
Hulu's
now.
huge. Yeah. I mean, their sign is like on Madison Square Garden. I think they have like a whole arena situation over there.
Yeah, I think so.
Like the theater at MSG, something like that.
It's like a fake documentary about me as a comedian, and it's following me getting ready to perform to record another stand-up album.
Wow. How long is that?
It's like an hour and 20-something minutes.
What's it called?
Adventures in Comedy.
Adventures in Comedy. I definitely need to check
Janine
that out.
Garofalo's in it. Jim Gaffigan's in it.
Of course. Oh, cool.
What I did is I have a bunch of interviews with big comedians, and then I intercut it with like, it's like Curb Your Enthusiasm style.
Yeah.
Like a comedian like Jim Gaffigan will be talking about a horrible thing that happened to him in stand-up, and then it'll cut to me like having a similar experience.
Oh.
In like documentary. It's basically like, I mean, it's not, one of my favorite movies is Spinal Tap. Do you know that movie?
No,
This
I've
is
heard of
Spinal
it.
Tap, which is just kind of like a rock band, a fake documentary about a rock band that's like having a hard time. And I wanted it to be like that, but like for stand-up comedians. I remember when I came up with the idea, I thought it was like a brilliant idea.
It is a good idea. I need to check it out for sure.
It is. It's really, really fake. It was in a film festival, and it got this guy from the Daily News was at the festival, and he gave it like a favorable review. And
Nice.
yeah, I thought it was cool. I mean,
He wasn't a dick about it.
he was super nice. His
Yeah.
name was he was like, I think he was the head film critic there.
Oh, yeah?
Joe Newmeyer.
Joe Newmeyer. That sounds like a head
He was a
film
cool
critic.
guy. I met him at the festival, and he was like, and he came to the screening. I mean, it was cool. It was like
Nice, man.
And then I was in another movie. I was just a star of the movie, but I didn't make it. It was called Happy Life, and that movie has like kind of a weird following. Like every now and then, they'll call me and they'll be like, "Hey, we're screening this again," and then like I'll go to the screening and everyone there like, I'm like a movie star.
Wait, what platform is that on? Happy Life.
I don't think that's available anywhere.
So then where the hell are people watching this movie?
Because the guy who directed it has directed a couple of other movies, and the guy who shot it, you were talking about Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
The DP for this movie that I was in, he shot a lot of movies for those Safdie brother guys.
Yes.
Early on. And do you remember the movie Good Time?
I've heard of it.
It's great.
That was before Uncut Gems. This guy who shot my movie shot Good Time, but for Uncut Gems, I think they hired like another DP. So this DP who shot my movie years ago has become like a big DP in the business.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like there's this indie film world that exists, and one time I went to a screening of this guy's other movie, the guy who directed my movie. It was like his next movie, and the star of the movie, they were interviewing her afterwards, and they were like, "Oh, how did you get in this movie?" And she was like, "Well, Happy Life was the name of the movie." She was like, "Well, Happy Life is like my favorite movie," and I was like, "What?" And you know who that girl is who said that? Remember, there was a movie that just came out called Black Christmas. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
That girl directed Black Christmas, the girl who said that.
Who is that?
Her name is Sophia Tikal. She's like an indie kind of.
Right. So like the indie film world.
Yeah.
So you're involved, man. You're involved.
In a weird way. It's like I go there. I went to a screening a year ago at a theater in Brooklyn, and I remember I showed up to the screening and I was like trying to buy a ticket, and the box office woman was like, "You can just go in." Because she like knew me from the movie.
from the indie
So
films.
they have screenings of Happy Life or a different. Or
they have. Well, what happened is this guy who made it has made 2 other movies. He was releasing another movie like a year ago, and they were at this theater. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna have like a whole weekend of his movies." So they showed my movie, like 3 times, and I went to one of the screenings, and it's just always so weird because I think I'm like not good in it, and then I watch it, and like people are
good in it or no?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm terrible in it, but
well, I feel like
afterwards,
you're
everyone's
also
like,
not the best judge of like if you were like amazing in it or not.
I think it's like I'm just like, oh, there must have been a better. Yeah, I guess not. I don't know. Like. It's hard. And then afterwards, everyone's like, "Oh, that was so great." I'm like, "Really?"
Well, that's like if you're like bombing on stage and like you don't even know if you are. It's just like depends on the laughs and how people.
Yeah, no, I know when I'm
and
bombing
shit
on
like
stage.
that.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah, but still, you'll hear some guy laughing or cackling in the back like myself, and you're like, "All right, that guy gets it. That guy gets it."
Yeah, that's happened to me a lot, especially at Black Cat.
That's what I'm talking about. So, Tom, we met at Black Cat. We're gonna say. And so that's the next time, I guess, I'll see you. We're going to wrap this up, episode 25. Bro, Tom, thank you so much for coming on. Give me a little handshake over here, my man. Producer Pat, I think we're going to, should we leave him with a little freestyle, I guess? Tom McCaffrey, you want to freestyle rap a little bit?
Are you want me to
go first? Yeah, I'll freestyle rap first. Let's get a beat going. Give me 1 second. So this is the beat I usually go with at Black Hat, but it's all off the top of the head. Yo, episode 25, we just finished it. Tom McCaffrey, you the man, you the shit, bitch. Yeah. Call me Teddy Jones, capital Italy, Rome. I already saying the shit, it be off the top of the dome. Yeah. Don't really know what to rap about. Ted Jones, I'm up north, not down south. I'd rather be in Miami in the sun. Ted Jones, I'm chillin', I'm having fun. R.I.P. Pop Smokey passed away. No more guns, let's just chill and blaze. Yeah. Tom McCaffrey trying to get it on the mic. Call me Teddy Jones, I'm the man like Mike.
I'm TMC in the NYC. I'm hanging here in an APT with TED. JONE. Yes, that's me. Oh, I'm the best. I like to smoke cess. Yo, like Dolly Parton's chest, I am blessed. Yeah, fuck the rest. Yo, I'm New York funny. On the mic, yo, I'm New York funny. If you look at me funny, I'll shoot you in your tummy while I'm one deep in my 2013 Hyundai. I'm funky, Dunkin' Donuts can't outdunk me. You ain't Ashton Kutcher, don't you try to punk me. Yeah.
Woo,
I'll kill you on the mic like that guy Ted Bundy. Oh shit.
Tom McCaffrey.
My life is comfy because I'm New York funny.
Yeah. Dog. We're going to wrap it up with that. Episode 25. Tom McCaffrey, thank you so much for joining us. Join us next week for episode 26. Goodbye.